Hey, happy Thursday, you guys. Everybody, welcome to Thursday night summer spotlight series. Tonight we have Miss Brittney Landrum with us. And you guys, if y'all don't know her, she is a freaking powerhouse with an incredible story. So just like always, I'm going to have her jump right into her story. And I told her, don't leave out any details. We want to know all the nitty gritty because as you continue to share with us, Brittney, it will make you that much more relatable and be able to just relate on so many different levels. So if you want to share your story and a little bit about you and your how you got started with It Works and all of that fun stuff, take us through it.
All right, perfect. So I'm excited to talk to you guys tonight. I'm going to start all the way at the beginning. It's been a crazy ride, and I'm going, August will be 7 years, and it's so insane. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, if you, after this, go follow me on TikTok, Reels, Facebook, you're going to see an outgoing person, but that's not who I was when I joined this business. So I need you to know this confident person you're going to see is not who said yes. Okay. And I'm hoping that this part of my story, it won't even do a good job, but I'm hoping it shows you a glimpse of this. So I actually had a stranger message me on Facebook that literally said, "Hey girl, you should join my It Works team." Those of you guys are familiar with Alyssa Marie. She sent me that message. The only reason why I accepted her friend request was because she had a cute little girl in her profile picture, and I was hoping that one day maybe I would have a little girl. And so when she responded that, I didn't tell her why. I just said, "I don't think I would be of any help to you, but thank you, but no thank you." She said, "Okay, no big deal. Have a good evening." And I did not hear from her again. Okay. What she did not know was that 5 years before that, so 11 years ago, right? 5 years before she messaged me, a lady had sold me a wrap and told me that it was for weight loss. I was in a wedding. The dress was a little snug. And my mom's like, "Oh, so-and-so is selling wraps." And I contacted her. She's like, "It's for weight loss." She came to my house. She wrapped me. I got on the scale before and after. The scale didn't change. I thought it was for weight loss. So when Alyssa messaged me 5 years later, I'm not someone to bash someone else's gig. So I didn't have the heart to tell her that I'm like, one, I wouldn't be any good at this because I'm too shy, but two, I would never back up something that doesn't work. But because she did not allow my no to stop her, she kept doing her thing. And I stayed around because I enjoyed seeing her pictures. 3 months after I told her no, I watched her earn a $10,000 bonus. What she didn't know is that I had gone through an awful divorce. Okay, just a little bit about me. So if you want to get to know me, I'm going to let you get to know me. I had my son on a Tuesday night. On Wednesday, my husband went and filed for divorce while I was in the hospital. You guys ready for this? We came home on Thursday. He moved me out on Friday. Now, when I found this business, my son was 5. But to tell you that I was an anxiety-filled, depressed-filled, and actually didn't even want to live when my son was born was literally my life. With my son 3 days old, I had moved back in with my parents, and I was there for 3.5 years until I could afford to buy my own home. When she found me, that was 2 years after that, so Ty was 5. I had eaten all the attorney fees because I wanted full custody. It put me $10,000 behind. My son was sick a lot when he was little. They thought he had cystic fibrosis, so there was a lot of tests run, all those things. And I don't like drama. I don't like confrontation. So, and I do want to say this though, my ex-husband and I and his wife, we all get along great, and we're like super, super close now. So I think God just told my heart to forgive, and so I forgave. I do want to put that out there. There's a reason why I'm telling you this part of the story. I went super deep in debt, and I wouldn't have had to, but I did not want to share. Like, I just don't like confrontation. So it was easier to say, whatever I have to do, I'll take all the fees. But it financially put me in a hole. So when I told her no, and 3 months later, I watch her earn a $10,000 bonus and my groceries are going on a credit card, I had gone to dental school and I was working 40 to 50 hours a week at my dental job. But with Ty being so sick, every time he would get sick, my mom was a teacher. And so she would have to take off to take care of him because I couldn't afford to. And to be honest, without like getting an attitude, it pissed me off. And I normally don't get like heated like that, but I mean, I want you to feel what I was feeling. And I remember it being a Sunday, I was sitting in my mom's pool and I started bawling. I said, you're a teacher. On the summers, you're with the grandkids and you're with my son. My sister is an assistant teacher, and my other sister, my sister-in-law gets to be a stay-at-home mom. My sister-in-law was an assistant teacher. What does that tell you? In the summer, they were all having fun with the kids, and I was going to work. And I looked at my mom and I said, I think I'm going to do network marketing. And she said, I will support you in everything you do. My mom's my best friend, but she said, you're not going to be any good at that, Brittney. You won't even talk in front of 5 people. That's how shy I used to be. Now, do I still get like red and blotchy and nervous talking to you guys even 7 years later? Yeah, I still get nervous. But back then I wouldn't even talk to people. And so I broke down and I cried to her. I said, yes, but at this point, I'm tired of wondering what if. I'm tired of having Ty's first vacation. I saved for 3.5 years. My groceries, not all the time, but oftentimes they were going on a credit card. This is the next part I want you to hear. When I contacted her back, someone else had followed up with me. An acquaintance that I knew through my ex-husband sent me a message. And this is what he said. This is what she said. She said, hey, I'm not sure if you've noticed that I joined the business. She had actually joined Alyssa too, because it was in the same area of Indiana. She said, I think you'd be really good at it because I know you would do anything for Ty. I opened that message, and this is a super cheesy example, but do you guys remember when that slogan used to be like, choosy moms choose Jif? And like their slogan was to make you think if you didn't choose Jif, then you weren't a good mom. Like that was their slogan. For whatever reason, her message literally said to me, if you don't do this, you're not a good mom. I know that's not what she meant, but like that's what it told me. It's like I wasn't doing enough for him. And I saw something on Pinterest that said, what you're not changing, you're choosing. So when I sent her a message at 10:30 at night, I asked her 3 questions and they changed my life. I said, number 1, I don't have the $99 to get started, but to me, that's a wake-up call. If I don't have $99 to do something for myself and I'm working 40 to 50 hours a week at a dental job, something's wrong. So I said, if I'm willing to put it on a credit card, will I make my $99 back? Number 2, can I earn free product? I didn't think the wraps worked, but she had been posting about hair, skin, and nails and stretch mark cream. But the third question was, if I don't like it, can I quit at any time? And here were her responses. Yes, you'll make your $99 back if you follow my lead. Yes, you'll be earning free product. She said, but if you're already thinking about quitting, this isn't for you. I'm so glad she said that to me, because when I said yes 15, 20 minutes later, after we got off the phone and I texted her my credit card information, I said yes, yes. I didn't say yes. I said yes. People will rise or fall to your expectations. And even though I was shy, she set the expectations are, if you're going to do this and you want to do this, we're going to really, really do this. So to fast forward my story, because those are pretty much the details that I want you to know to get to know me a little bit better. But the details, long story short, I went diamond in 4 months, got the $10,000 bonus. At that point, I was dating my now husband. He had signed up. I got him the next month to diamond and got him a $20,000 bonus. And then it just went crazy. But there's one other part of my story that I'm feeling called to share. And I know that right now this next conference isn't going to be in person, but hopefully by the next conference, it will be. I'm praying that it will be. I want to speak on how important that it is to go. I'll never forget being a Ruby when conference was released. And I remember being at my mom's house. She was cooking dinner and I was like, I think I need to go to this conference. And she was like, you're not even making any money. I mean, you're making money for your product that you're turning around and buying because you want the product, but like you're not making money to go to Florida. And I remember her saying to me, I can't believe you would go to Florida without Ty. And I sat there and I bawled. And I turned around and I said to her, I said, I'm not going without Ty, I'm going for Ty. By the time conference hit, I had just promoted to Diamond. And Erin Tweed, I don't know if you guys know Erin Tweed, but her and I sat at the back of conference. We listened to story after story after story. Mind you, I slept on the floor of a hotel the first night until someone would let me sleep in their bed in another room because I didn't have my own room. Didn't even have a pillow, didn't have a blanket. I used someone's duffel bag as a pillow. Okay. At the end of conference, when they released the bonuses, Erin Tweed was sitting right in front of me. She'd reached back and grabbed my hand, and it still makes me emotional. She said, we're coming home to our babies. A year later, I was standing on stage in the top 100, making 6 figures a year, had retired myself, and 6 months later, I retired my then husband. So that's kind of in a nutshell, my story.
OMG. If you are seeing all these zeros in the chat, that is like round of applause, fire emoji. Like, you are lighting this up, you guys. I want you to drop the part of Brittney's story that you related to the most. I want to know what it is, because the part for me was when you were talking about watching all your sister and sister-in-laws and whatever, and everybody was at home for the summer having fun with their kids. When I started this business, I had an incredible job. I was making 6 figures, and this was never my plan to be a stay-at-home mom. But once I got a taste of that freedom, it was like, man, I could never do that. I want that. I want to be at home. I want to be able to do all the things with my kids. And so that part for me, I was just like, yes, if you can get a taste of that, or if you can see that in front of you, if you can watch your sponsor have that kind of freedom, it makes you want it, and it makes it like so much more attainable too. And then sitting at the back of conference, just claiming that, like, it is so good. You guys, you have to get to conference. So I love your story so much. And there was so much of that I didn't even know. So thank you for opening up and sharing with all of that with us, because I know that walking through life is hard, especially while you're trying to be a business owner. And so that's kind of, I know I sent you a list of questions that we were going to kind of walk through, but I do want you to talk about, because you did have a really quick road to success. I want you to talk about raising a kid, being a single mom, and having life, and still being able to prioritize your business while you're working full time, because I know that is no easy feat. I have 2. I worked full time as a director for my first 2 years in the business, and it's not easy. And so I want you to talk just a little bit about what that was like, being a single mom and working full time and all of that, and maybe offer a tip or two if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I'm assuming I know the answer to this, but do I have like full permission from all of you to be real, raw, open, and tell you even the stuff that you may not want to hear? But I'm telling it to you in hopes that you'll get over your damn self. Okay, just get over yourself. Okay, here's why. I didn't see my son much for 10 months when I first joined this business at all. And I hope I don't get emotional, but let me tell you what life looked like. Back then, you hosted parties. Can you imagine being red cheek, blotchy chest? Literally, some of the at work shirts would be like V-neck. I would be at the party and the guests would be talking me. It's okay, you can do it. It's okay, you can. The guests at the parties were talking to me because I was so red and blotchy. Okay, this is what my life looked like. All I kept hearing is that if you pay for it now, it will buy you freedom forever. So I worked 40 to 50 hours for the first year. I did not come home until I was a presidential. Could I have financially left earlier than that? Absolutely. But if I'm going to be very transparent, I started making money that was probably more than anyone in my entire family had ever made. And so it was kind of like, is this too good to be true? And actually, side note, but just to tell you how much I was in shock, in my first year, right after it was in my first year, one of my checks was $16,000 and I gave it all away. I literally started giving it away. I didn't know what to do with it. I was starting questioning, like, is it for me? Did God give this to me? Is it supposed to be to someone else? I literally was like, oh, this GoFundMe, this one, this pay, this organization, give it here. I didn't even know what to do. Luckily, I wasn't retired yet. I told a girl at work that I did that. And luckily, her spiritual journey was farther along than mine at that point. And she sat me down and she's like, honey, you don't have to do that. All he asked for is 10%. And I'm like, I know, but I don't understand. Like, I don't deserve all of this. I don't need all of this. I'm used to, like, my parents lived a normal life where, like, we were fed and our vacations were my softball tournaments. We didn't do vacations, right? Like, that's what life looked like. So the first 10 months of my business, this is what it looked like. I would work full time. When I wasn't working, I had to split my time with my ex-husband, right? Ty would go to his dad's. When it was my time, I probably was at a party, so he was at my mom's. Would I still do bedtime? Yes. Would I still do bath time? Yes, but I wasn't doing dinners. I was leaving work to launch a party. I was leaving work to launch a party. I was leaving work to launch a distributor that you enrolled party because you wouldn't do it, and I wasn't going to let them be hanging because that was the way that I worked. Let me tell you a story that literally changed my life forever. Matt and I were dating. I had the bag on my shoulder. Ty was at his dad's. Matt sat on the couch and he said, is this how it's going to be like forever? Are you never going to be home? And I lost my ever loving mind. Like almost exorcist type, lost my mind. Okay. I literally told him we were just dating too. I said, either you go get 3 jobs and you let me be a stay-at-home mom, or let me figure it out for myself. I'm sick and tired of missing out, and I think that this can do it. He never said another word. And it wasn't but a few months later, I had retired myself. And he actually, until just a few months ago, he went back to work for fun because Zella is going to be in school full-time next year. He's actually been home for 4 years. I've been home. Well, no, he's been home for 5. I've been home for 6. So the first part of my business, I'm just telling you, you're going to have to sacrifice. But here's the thing. Now, in-home parties aren't happening as much. So here's what I will tell you. You probably don't have to sacrifice as much as I sacrifice, but this is what you have to do. Drop a 1 in the chat if you ever feel like your phone is always in your hand. At the end of 2019, I went to my enroller for the first time ever. I never complained to her, ever. The reason why I don't ever complain is because if I'm not where I want to be, it's because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So what is there to complain about? Right? I could never go to my upline and be like, I'm doing all the things when I knew I wasn't doing all the things. But in 2019, I went to her and I said, I don't think I can't live like this anymore. And I feel like I'm like just spinning my wheels. I feel like this is always in my hand. And she said, if you were working the entire, and she like, luckily, like Alyssa and I get along great. So she meant it, like she said it in a very sweet way, but she's like, if you were working the entire time this was in your hand, you'd already be Black Diamond. And it works, never told you it had to be in your hand all the time. So my advice to you right now is, are you going to have to sacrifice? Yes. What do my sacrifices look like? Sometimes we'll do family movie time. And when my kids are into the movie, I'm replying to messages. That doesn't make me a bad mom because I'm not watching the movie for the 10th time this week. Right? But it also means when I'm working, I'm working. I'm not just scrolling. I'm not just, because here's the thing, what I think a lot of people tend to do, and I'm even guilty of it if I don't check myself, is that I will look back and be like, man, I worked all day. Did I really work, or was this just in my hand? Did I really work? And so what I will tell you is it going to be a sacrifice? Yes. But if you will make yourself a task list and you do the income producing tasks, before you just scroll or do whatever else. I don't think you have to sacrifice as much as I did 7 years ago. To me, the business is easier now than it was 7 years ago because of TikTok, Reels, host to post. We didn't have those things. You didn't have, I mean, if you sent a friend request and they didn't accept your friend request, you couldn't grow your network. So back then you had to be hosting parties. Now, I'm not saying if you're willing to host party, go host a party. But I do think the business is easier now if you're willing to hunker down and just do the things.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. I love it when you said that he asked you, is this going to be like this forever? Because I have been on enough of these Zooms where a lot of times the husband does ask that, especially when you do take yourself seriously and you do start showing up for your business at whole nother level. But like you said, if your phone is not in your hand, or if it's in your hand because you're working great, you don't have that mom guilt or that husband guilt or that whatever, because you're being productive, you're doing what you need to do. And then when you step away from your phone to go to the water park or whatever for a few hours or do movie night or date night, you don't feel guilty. It works both ways. So I love that he asked you that, because I feel like you know you're on the right path if you're getting asked that question, because that means you're taking yourself very seriously and you're taking your business very seriously. So next question I want you to dive into, because being in the business for 7 years, I'm sure at some point you have felt stuck. So what would you tell somebody that feels like they're in like a slow season or a stuck season or a season of less growth, or whatever they want to call it? What would you tell the person that is in that season right now? And feel free, like you asked a minute ago, just go all in.
Here's the hard part about this business. A lot of these answers are never going to change. You either want to hear it or you don't want to hear it. You're either going to be like, oh yeah, she was right, and then you go do what someone tells you to do, or you're going to be like, oh yeah, she was right, and you still continue to do the same things that aren't going to get your result. And here's what I love and I don't love about this business, but it's not just this business, it's life. This business is mindset. When I think I'm going to do well, I do well. When I think I'm going to do horrible and I can't do it, guess what? I'm horrible and I can't do it. And so my biggest thing is, if you are stuck and you're wondering how to get out, you're just going to have to take action, because sitting and like thinking about what would be good, or sitting and thinking about what would be a good TikTok, or thinking about what would this reel take off, or are these posts good, or in my stories, I'm not ready today, should I still go talk in my stories? Thinking about it won't create anything. I don't remember the exact words, but I'm going to try to piece this together, but I remember listening to Claire Flores once. It was right around 2019 when I just wasn't in a good place. But I wasn't in a good place because I needed to get over myself and just start doing the stuff I didn't want to do. Right. I had told myself, like, Instagram's not for me. I'll never be able to enroll from Instagram. The first 5.5 years of this business, I only enrolled 2 distributors total from Instagram. You guys ready for this? In 2020, I enrolled over 100 distributors just from Instagram. That's not counting my Facebook ones. And the only thing that changed was that I went into 2020 telling myself, I'm going to figure out Instagram. I didn't go into it saying like, oh, I'm going to mass enroll tomorrow. It was, okay, I got to figure out what's trending. What are people doing? What hashtags are working? What do their posts look like? Can I do this, but put myself in here? Okay. So my biggest thing is, if you are stuck, a lot of people, and this is what Claire said, a lot of people want to be motivated to get moving. And then once you're moving, then you gain the momentum. It's actually the opposite. You have to get moving, and then you will catch the momentum. And then guess what? Once you catch the momentum, guess what happens? You're motivated now. because you're getting results. And that's where so many people get it backwards. And when she said that, I was like, well, no wonder. Here I am listening to books and getting on Zooms, and I'm like, woo, I'm on top of the world. And then tomorrow morning, I'm like, what'd they say on that Zoom? I don't feel like that. I don't feel like I felt last night when I went to bed. And then I was back to not being motivated again. And here's what I also want to tell you. I had a really crappy month in the business last month. You guys want to hear some scary numbers? And I want this to motivate you. Okay. Our team has just been through a lot. We had a company come in and swipe, oh my goodness, a ton of our people. And like, I didn't even fight it. I was just like, God must be like taking care of me. Like, it's really hard. And I cried, don't get me wrong, whatever. And then I've had people that have been with me for years that have just decided network marketing isn't for them. So like, but here's the crazy part. I still feel like I'm on top of the mountain because my mindset is in such a good place. This isn't about, I don't look at them and be like, oh, you're done, I'm mad. It's like, oh, it's okay if this isn't for you, but this is for me. I can't ever imagine doing anything else. Okay. I'm going to give you some crazy numbers because I want you to know I'm not preaching from the top of a mountaintop saying, I'm talking to those of you that are struggling. I was struggling too. And I wouldn't say that I'm not struggling because I'm in a good place. Last month, mind you, I'm an ambassador diamond and my 2.0 is triple. So I have a massive team, right? You guys ready for this? On the 25th of last month, I could tell that like energy was down. I'm like, man, what's going on? I pulled enrollments for our entire team. Only 2 distributors had been enrolled. In the entire team. What would most people do? Quit, give up. Not me. Guess what I did from the 25th to the 30th? I said, if no one else wants to enroll, and actually I invited a lot of my team on here, so I would say this to them too. It's not a bad thing that I'm very open with. I thought there's no reason to acknowledge it to the team. What am I doing? Guess what? I enrolled 6 distributors between the 25th and the 30th. I thought, you know what? I'm not going to go tell them what they need to be doing. I'm going to go show them what I'm doing and then trickle it down. We ended last month with only 8 people enrolling at least 1 distributor, but guess what? It wasn't 0 and it didn't stay at 2. And to me, that is a win. So when I tell you all of these things, and if you're on here and you're like, man, I just don't want to run alone. All right, run with me. You don't have to be on my team to run with me. Now, don't look today because I've been doing a lot of things, getting ready for some things that I'm releasing for my team. But if you want to follow a leader that's willing to get in the trenches with you, follow me. I'm consistent with TikToks. I'm consistent with Reels. I do host to post. I post 2 to 3 times a day, and I add to my stories every single day. If you want ideas, follow me. I don't care if you benefit my business or not. Okay. So if you are in a place where you're like, man, I'm just struggling, you're going to have to stop focusing there and start acting. So my question is, what did you do today that would have enrolled you a customer or distributor? And that's exactly where I would start.
Oh my gosh, so many good nuggets. I could just listen to you talk forever and ever and ever. And I love that when you talked about momentum and motivation and all of that fun stuff. I love that you talked about mindset, but in a completely different way. The way that you spoke about it, all I heard was discipline. Like, you just have to take action. You have to be disciplined to show up. There was no fluff. There was no anything like that. It was just like, you just have to, it's not decide as in like make this crazy decision. It's not, you have to have like this surge of energy and excitement and whatever. You just have to have the discipline to continue to take action so that the momentum and all of the excitement and everything else can come. So I loved that so much. And I love that you tied it back to some for real numbers where you just took action, because
something real quick.
Yeah, go.
just because I want to tell you this. Okay. So I didn't pull those numbers until the 25th of June, right? But on June 1st, I had already decided that I was going all in. I didn't know that no one was behind me. Okay. Like I didn't realize that like there were all hands on deck. There was no hands on deck. Okay. I didn't know that because I do the things and I show up that I didn't realize that like we weren't host to posting. We weren't signing people. Okay. So on the 1st, I had already gone back all in with TikTok and I was doing 1 to 3 a day. And there's a reason why I'm telling you this. So I was doing 1 to 3 a day, 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 1 to 3, whatever. Sometimes 1, sometimes 0, sometimes 4, whatever. On the 25th, when I pulled those numbers and I made that switch, a post that Ty and I had made on the 24th, that next day, it went viral. It's now it's been 3 weeks. What, 3 weeks? Yeah. It's up to 8.8 million views. And it was literally, I was in leggings and a shirt and he was in a mixed match outfit and we were doing like the fancy like song, the Applebee's song. Okay. We weren't expecting it to take off. Have you ever heard the saying, give it to God? Let go and let God. Here's where I think people miss the mark. And I'm going to preach for just a second. I think people give it to God and they're like, if it's meant to be, it will be. No, that's not how it works. You give it to God and you move your feet. Giving it to God means whatever the outcome is, that's what you gave to him. Not that you would just sit here and like fairy dust would be sprinkled on you. So when I gave it to him, I still have to move my feet and do the things. Like, these are my host to post. These are the messages that I send. These are the people that have posted for me. I have pages. I don't ask my team to do anything that I'm not doing myself. They want to see TikToks, go to my TikTok. But I also give it to God to the point where I'm not stressed about it. Once again, I'm just disciplined. Because here's the thing, I know because he's in control, if I will just walk around like this, not like this, he's probably going to give me more than I could have expected anyways, which is exactly what happened to me in 2020. In 2020, I set the goal that our team was going top 20. I ended up getting to go to the premiere. And here's the best part. I may have only been top 20 for that month's numbers. I don't even know how we got there. Other than the fact that I was just showing up excited and doing the tasks and walking around like this, whatever you have for me, whatever you have for me. Instead of having the mindset of like, host to post doesn't work for me anyways. I don't know why I'm even doing this. It takes long and I sign one customer. When I had the mindset of, I get to do this, not I don't have to do this, I get to do this. My approach is different. So my posts are more carefree. My stories are more carefree. My TikToks are more fun because when I'm smiling, it's a genuine smile, not a forced smile. People can feel that. And so that's what I wanted to add is I wanted you to hear me. The reward that I got from the 25th to the 30th, I had made that decision on the 1st. I think that God just was like, oh, you learned that lesson? Okay, here are your blessings. Because they're waiting for you guys too.
I love it. I love it so much. And I love this too with your open hands, because I always tell my team, I'm like, work with an expectancy, work with the expectancy that host to post is going to take off. Work with the expectancy that your next distributor is going to show up and is not going to go into the witness protection program. Work with the expectancy that you are going to close a $400 today. It is so important, you guys, when we talk about mindset and things like that, that you are just focusing on the positive. And I know that I was on a Zoom the other night and I was talking about, I think it was one you and I were doing with Rachel. It's not easy to have like a positive attitude all the time and to always focus on the good. But I was just talking to one of my diamonds the other day and I told her, I said, it's not that that's easy or that's whatever, or that I want you to be just butterflies and roses all the time. But every bounce back, the faster you can bounce back, the quicker you can move on to your next win. And staying in the trenches and staying in the stuck and staying in the blah, or the people that left or whatever, or the we've only signed 2 distributors and it's the 25th, that is not serving you. And if you are thinking about that, then you're walking around expecting more of that. And so when we talk about just focusing on like having your hands open, what do you have for me, God? Let me be a good steward. Bless me with the things and I will do good works with them. Like that's what it's all about. So I love that you added that on. This is so good, you guys. I'm so excited. So I want you to talk about, and I might get your years wrong. Was it 2019 that was rough or 2020 that was rough? Because I feel, and then you had like a major comeback.
2019.
Okay, can you talk about that a little bit? Because
2019
we've
was
got some
rough, and
people
then
on here that have been with us, been with the business for a little bit that maybe, and even if you haven't been with the business for a long time, like this is the time of year where like we just came off a high. Spring is a high, and that doesn't always carry into the summer. And so I want you to talk about that because I feel like the valleys are where the lessons are learned. And so I'm sure that there's some wisdom that you can bestow upon us from that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's storming really bad here in Indiana. So if I lose internet, just know if I cut out, that's why. So yeah, I'll be honest with you. I am very much so like, I don't harp on something. I don't hold it in. I let it go. So I would love to take you to like 2019 and can tell you how bad it was. I don't even necessarily remember how bad it was, except for I had one strong leg that was still pushing, and all of the other legs had just decided that network marketing wasn't for them. And I thought to myself, like, what in the world is going to happen? Do I want to do this again? The reality was, I at that point had never, I only signed 2 distributors from Instagram, right? And I just thought to myself, if I'm going to be very transparent, I thought to myself, do I want to do again what I did the first time, knowing that it was rough, like knowing that it came with sacrifices? Do I want to do this again? Can I do this again? Was I a one-hit wonder? Why did the group of us go presidential in our first year? There was 5 of us that went presidential together in our first year from the same area. The next year, they all went ambassador, but me. It took me another 4 years. Okay. There were a couple things that I had to get my mind right. One, you guys ready for this? Was learning to clap for others. It's not that I wasn't happy for them. I was happy for them, but I kept thinking, but I'm working too. So what? Like, what is going on? Why not me? And I think the lesson was I was focusing too much on what others were doing instead of just working on growing myself. The other thing, I'm a very positive person, but I also didn't realize how negative I was. Let me give you an example. I thought I had to defend myself to everyone. I thought I had to explain myself to everyone. I thought if something bad happened to me, everyone needed to know. What I did was I started giving too much focus to those things, and I learned more about law of attraction and where your focus goes, your energy flows. And the junk that I was looking on, I ended up getting more of it. The other thing, and I hope, okay, I don't want this to be you, but I know this is probably most of you, so I want you to hear me loud and clear. Do you have your chart filled out? Do you have all your volume counted? Do you already know what it's going to be on the 25th of this month? If you are on here and you don't, you're not promoting this month. Do you have a dream board? Do you know what you're working for? not just money. Do you know how much money you're working for? Now that you know you're working for money, do you know what you would do when you got that money? He will give it to you once you know what you're going to do with it. He's not going to give it to you for you to waste it. Okay. So one of my biggest struggles, I stopped charting. And I thought, I'll just focus on the tasks. I'll just focus on enrolling and the cream will rise to the top. Well, if I didn't know where I was going, how would I do a Zoom to cast vision to my team? So if you don't know where you're going, even if it's Ruby, drop a 2 in the chat if you're going Ruby. Like how many people are on here that are working towards Ruby? Okay, I'm speaking to you right now. What do you want out of this? How much money? Once you get the money, what are you going to do with it? Have you told the distributors that you've signed what you're doing? You have to cast the vision. Then you have to tell them what you're working for. And then you have to tell them, okay, now watch me go do the things, follow my lead. Drop a 3 in the chat if you guys don't feel like you're a good leader, or you don't feel like you could lead a Zoom, or you don't feel like you could lead. Now, I'm not saying this is everyone. I'm speaking from my experience, hoping that if you feel this way, you will release yourself of this junk. The only time that I've not felt like I could lead you is if I wasn't doing the things myself. Because then I felt guilty saying, oh yeah, do this, do this, do this, do this. And in my mind, I'm thinking, this is a bunch of BS. If you took my phone, I haven't even sent messages, but I'm telling you to. When I'm doing the things, I'm like, take my phone, come to my office, see all the papers I have, see all the charts that I have sitting down here. I'm in the trenches. Once I'm doing the things, I feel like a leader. Because if one of you came to me and said, how do you do X, Y, and Z? I could say, well, this is how I do it. This is what it looks like. Then I send this next. Leader has nothing to do with a rank. And that was probably my biggest struggle. There's a reason why I'm talking about all this. To answer your question, that was my biggest struggle. I didn't think I could lead the people. I know I could build the people. I could enroll because I was a hard worker. I was willing to get up early and stay up late. I could enroll the people. I could get to where I wanted to go. But could I lead the people? And that was my biggest, between this mark and this mark, was really just taking care of myself. I started journaling every day and doing self-development every day. And it 100% changed everything for me. Because once I got my mind right, I could deal with the junk of the business. The reality is, you want to know the best people, the best thing about this business, the people. You want to know the hardest thing about the business? The people. If I could get paid just to do the tasks, I would be a billionaire because I'm good at TikToks. I can do the reels. I can make the posts. I don't have to have a boss telling me, did you do your work today? I can be consistent. The hardest part is the people, but it's also the best part. You got to be able to cast that vision.
Oh my gosh, so good. And I love that so many people on here are going for Ruby, because I think that's exactly what we need to hear from the beginning. Like, if you are pushing for Ruby, you're going to be leading a small army of people. And so just do the things. Don't worry about being this idea of whatever you have a leader is. Just show up and do the things first, and then cast the vision. Figure out where y'all want to go as a team, and then go do that. So I love that. That was so good. Next thing, I know we're coming up on an hour. So the next thing I want you to talk about is just, what are you doing right now that has got you like jazzed? Like, what are you so excited about? Is there like a training or a spreadsheet, or is host to post? I know that you did a whole thing on host to post, and I could have you dive into that. That we all use your host to post training that you did. It was so good. But what are you doing right now that you were just like beyond excited about? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, it's an easy answer, but it's going to be a lot for you guys. Okay. And this is what I mean by that. How many of you, and I want to get through this whole question first. Okay. So let me get through the entire question first. How many of you on here, and I want you to drop a 5 once I'm done. You post at least 2 times a day. Hold on just a second. You add to your story every day. You put up at least 1 reel a day. You put up at least 1 TikTok a day, and you get up at least 5 to 10 host to post a day. If you do all of those at least 6 days a week, put a 5 in the chat. It's going to be crickets if people are going to be honest. If we're being honest, it will be crickets, and it should be crickets. But here's what I want to tell you. Guess where my blessings were? They were behind the doors that I was keeping closed. Remember, for 5.5 years, I enrolled 2 distributors from Instagram. But then in 2020, you guys ready for this too? This will blow your mind because it still blows my mind. In March of 2020, I had been in the business for 5.5 years. I had 2,300 followers on Instagram. That is a little over a year ago. Okay. So for 5.5 years, I grew it to 2,300 people. As of today, I am at 48.8 thousand followers in a little over a year. But here's the thing. For 5.5 years, what door was I keeping closed? Instagram. And here's the kicker. I was posting on it, but guess what was coming out of my mouth to my team? Oh, I don't enroll from Instagram. I do everything from Facebook. I don't do this. I'm not that. I can't do this. They have this. I don't have that. In 2020, my word for the year that came to me was follow through. And I made myself a promise. If I said I was going to do it, I had to follow through. And if I thought there was even a little bit of a chance that I wouldn't follow through, I wasn't even going to say I was going to do it. Oftentimes, do you know we are the reason why we feel bad about ourselves? We do it to ourselves. We say we're going to do things, we don't do them, and then we beat ourselves up over the fact that we didn't do what we said we were going to do. Stop telling yourself you're going to do it. Just don't even set yourself up for the failure, right? But once you're ready, be ready. And that's what changed my business. So I went into 2020 not knowing how I was going to enroll from Instagram, but I'd only enrolled 2 in 5 years, 5.5 years. So really, 3 for a year would have been good, right? Like if it took me 5.5 to do 2, I literally just approached it that I'm going to start posting consistently. And then guess what happened? Here came TikTok. And guess what I told I didn't want to do it. And don't waste your time doing this. But if you guys watch me on TikTok, you probably watch and some of you, I'm not saying we're good at it, but Ty and I do have fun. So now people look and they're like, well, you have Ty that does this, or you're good at him, or you like to do this, or you're outgoing. No, if you scrolled all the way back to January of 2020, they are painful to watch. I didn't know how to do green screen. I didn't know how to add the IDS. I didn't know how to do anything, but we just did it. Because what happened was when Host to Post came out, I missed the boat on that at the beginning. I sat back and I was like, I'm going to see how many people this works for. Now, don't get me wrong. When I got started working on Host to Post, yes, it still worked for me. But I kicked myself for not trying it in the beginning. So when TikTok came out, I told myself, I am not being left behind on this. Does anyone remember when they came in all the political stuff, they thought TikTok was going away? Does anybody remember this? Guess what? Most of my team stopped using it. They were like, well, if it's going away, I'm not wasting my time. Do you know what my mindset was? It may only be here for 3 more days. I'm going to get as many hits out of it as I can. And I literally went balls to the wall with it. And not only did it not go away, but Tyler and I were just talking about it today. We just hit 400,000 followers on TikTok. But I do 1 to 4 TikToks a day. I have content days. I make a bunch. I save them in my draft. And on days that I'm feeling really good or don't have a lot of meetings, I'll throw a couple out there. So like today, so far, I think we only have 2 up. One of them was recorded yesterday, and one of them I recorded today. So my advice to you is, what door are you keeping closed because you either don't want to do it because you're being a little bit lazy, or are you counting yourself out because you think you're not qualified or worthy? That was my thing. I actually wasn't lazy. If I was lazy, I wouldn't have ever gotten to the top 100 of the company. And I was even in the top 100 when I was having my worst year in 2019. Here's what I was doing. I was looking at Instagram saying, can I take a pretty picture? Yes. But is that really me every day? No. Most of the days, this is what I look like. And so like, I don't want to have to go get photographer. I don't want to have to hire a photographer to take pictures to be able to post fake pictures on Instagram. Those were the lies I was telling myself. I'm like, I'm not perfect enough for Instagram. Well, then in 2020, I decided, hold on a second. I'm going to make Instagram different. I'm going to let my profile not be perfect. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I get dressed up and Ty will take some pictures of me on the front porch, but sometimes my pictures look like this. What doors are you keeping closed? Because that's where the blessings in your business are probably sitting. Because God wants you to leave your comfort zone. He wants you to grow a little to get the fruit. What next question do you have?
Perfectly answered. We've got about 5 minutes. I know it's late. You're an hour ahead of us. So I want to end this on time, but what is one last thing that maybe I didn't ask you or that is weighing on your heart that you want to share with us, whether it's a piece of advice or a piece of your story or whatever? Share one more thing with us, and just bring us home. This is so good.
Oh, let me think. There's so much right now. I feel like here's probably what I would say. I couldn't imagine ever doing anything else because this is the only thing that I have found that I can actually control how, when, and what I can do to take care of my family, my friends, and strangers. Any other thing out there, I'm going to make what someone tells me that I can make. I'm going to have to clock in or out on someone else's time. And if I'm not going to sugarcoat it, there have been times where this business has been hard enough where I'm like, take your $300,000 a year, take your $250,000 a year, take your $200,000 a year and shove it. I'm going back to my 9 to 5 because I'm not dealing with this crap anymore. And what I mean by that is people saying they're going to do things and then they never do. That's exhausting. Getting on one-on-ones over and over and over, and they don't even do host to post. That's exhausting. There have been times where I have felt like that. And then I remember, one, get over yourself, Brittney. You get paid buku bucks to sit on a one-on-one. You ain't that special. Two, you just scheduled this one-on-one around your family time and your kids are sleeping in and not having to go to a daycare and get up at 5 o'clock in the morning like they would have had. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just telling you what their life would have looked like if I hadn't gotten over myself. I still have to say those things to myself sometimes. Right? Sometimes, and obviously I don't mind doing this at all, but like just like tonight, our family's going through some stuff. Extended family, and so it's kind of affecting our family. We're taking care of some things, and I had a Zoom at 8:30 to 9. 9 to 10, and now this 10 to 11. I about had to spank Zella because she wouldn't stay in bed, and she was purposely irritating her brother because he has a friend staying the night, which about put me in hives. There are times where I'm like, man, a 9 to 5 wouldn't do this to me. I could be sleeping right now, right? But then there's times of like, no. This is freedom. I have this list of things that need to be done, and I can fit them into my day wherever I want them. Now I have to complete the list 6 days a week. Yes, I always say, choose your hard. People will say, is this hard? And I say, well, hard to me was, and then I list the things of what my life used to look like. No, this is way easier than that. So I guess what I would wrap up and say is, get your list, get it done, be excited, figure out what you want. Something that I did with my team, so I could challenge you, I could leave you with like a call to action, is we did this time where I'm like, okay, if not one person joined you in the business, you can go and make a minimum of $400 this month. And that's not even counting your commissions. Because if you just signed 5 customers this week, $100. 5 customers, $100. 5 customers, $100. So at minimum, you can make $400. And if that doesn't excite you, you are in the wrong business, because if you're not grateful for 400, you'll never get 400,000. And that's another reason why I think I've continued to be blessed, is because my check can go up and down and I'm still grateful. I joined for free product and $200 to $300 a month. So anything on top of that is his blessings over my life. Here's what I want you to do. Set a goal. What would you do with, okay, so what we have this week, so you have till tomorrow to get the rest of your 5, and then you have the next 2 weeks. So at minimum, you could get at least 200, but you probably could get 300. What would you do with $300? Either pick one thing or pick 2 or 3 things. You could divide it up. I want you to make a post about it tomorrow. I am so excited. I'm going to be getting an extra $300 that was offered to me. And once I get it, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then here's what you're going to do. You're going to get to work with Host to Post. You're going to sign a customer. You're going to show it in your stories. You're going to sign a customer. You're going to show it in your stories. You're going to sign a customer. You're going to show it in your stories. And then you're going to make a post about it saying, oh my goodness, I told you 4 days ago that I was going to make $300. $300. I just made my first 100. I'm super excited to be doing X, Y, and Z. And then you're going to talk about the business in your stories. Because not only did you tell them they could make the money, but you're showing them that you are making it too. That's how you build belief.
Oh, that was so good, you guys. Let's show Brittney some love in the chat. You guys, this has been so damn good. I know the other night when we were on the Rachel Jones Zoom, I was like, I need to hear from her some more. And then it was God's divine timing for me to ask you and you to be able to be here tonight with us. So one, I appreciate you doing back-to-back-to-back Zooms. I know that that is a choice and you chose to be here with us. And I'm super freaking grateful for that, because I know that it's not always easy. So I appreciate you so much. You guys, that call to action was really, really attainable. I love it that she just gave us something that we can literally walk away. And even if the mindset stuff was over your head or her story somehow didn't touch your heart, even if you missed all of that, walk away with the task that she just gave us. $300 on the table for this month outside of our commissions. Go make a post about it and then get loud about it in all the different ways in your stories and your posts, and go make that extra $300 and do that fun, cool thing that you're going to assign that $300 to. So I appreciate you so much, friend. We just so much appreciate you, and I love you guys, and we will see you next Thursday, 8:30 every Thursday this summer. Same Zoom code. We will see y'all then. Thank you. Good night.